In the sun-baked alleys of a modest Ghanaian village called Naginkiam, where survival often trumped ambition and laughter was rationed, lived a girl named Efua. She wasn't born into gold or surrounded by comfort. Her family's home was a two-room clay structure with a corrugated roof that sang loudly in the rain. But what Efua lacked in privilege, she carried tenfold in determination. With fingers calloused from house chores and a spirit untamed, she was the brightest light in her village school. Her chalk-scratched notebooks brimmed with dreams no one could afford. The teachers, worn by years of seeing brilliance fade into labor, whispered that Efua was destined for more. But her threadbare uniform and cracked sandals said otherwise. When she finished her final exams, others prayed for miracles that never came. Efua didn't wait. She borrowed a rusted stool and a wooden comb from her auntie and sat up under the neem tree by the market. There, beneath the shade, she transformed into a storyteller with her hands, a weaver of braids and confidence. People didn't just come for the hairstyles. They came for the warmth in her laugh, the wisdom in her silence. She lived with her mother, who sold roasted plantains, and her father, a welder with smoke-creased skin and a mind full of doubt. They didn't have much, but every night, the scent of kenki and onions filled the house, and they never slept hopeless. One sweltering afternoon, while Efua worked on a customer's intricate cornrows, a figure approached, tall, regal, dressed in linen and quiet wealth. Her name was Madame Ajoa. She was known for her class, her imported perfumes, and the silence she commanded. Efua had braided her once before, but this day was different. There was something watching in her eyes. As Efua tied the last knot with reverence, Madame Ajoa turned slowly and said, "You were born for greater things." Efua blinked, uncertain. "Me, ma? Have you ever thought of working overseas?" Madame Ajoa asked. "I want to help you. I can sponsor your move to the U.S. A sister of mine owns a top salon in Atlanta. With your hands, you'll do wonders." Efua's breath caught. Her voice cracked. "Are you serious?" "I don't offer dreams I can't deliver," the woman replied with grace. That night, Efua raced home like the wind had given her wings. Her mother burst into tears, lifting her hands to the heavens. Her father folded his arms, always the skeptic. "How? Do you know it's not a trick, a trap?" "She's genuine, Baba," Efua said. "She's brought me clients before, and she's never asked for anything." Still, he grunted, unconvinced. But something had shifted inside her, the certainty that destiny had finally found her address. The weeks that followed were a blur. Documents, photos, her very first passport, all handled by Madame Ajoa. Soon, everything was ready. The village buzzed. Some called her blessed. Others whispered about rich women and hidden motives. Efua ignored them all. She packed hope in her wrapper and wrapped courage in her smile. Before she left, Madame Ajoa insisted on visiting her home. "I must greet the ones who raised you," she said. At the compound, Efua's mother served chilled cebolo and hot waki, her hands trembling. Her father remained silent, watching. "Your daughter has fire," Madame Ajoa said. "She deserves to burn brighter. She live well, work hard, and send pride back home." Her father gave a small nod, not approval, but no refusal either. The day Efua left, the sky wept. Her mother clung to her, her siblings cried, and her father stayed in the back, hands buried in his pockets. As Efua boarded the trotro to the airport, he called out softly, "Whatever happens, don't lose who you are." The flight felt like crossing oceans inside a cloud. Efua sat still, staring at nothing, carrying dreams bigger than her suitcase. She landed in Atlanta under silver skies and strange air. There at the airport stood Miss Lena, a sharp-eyed woman with skin like carved mahogany and a no-nonsense tone. "You start tomorrow," she said. "My salon is no place for laziness. Can you keep up?" Yes, ma, Efua answered, her heart thumping. The salon was a palace of mirrors and motion. Clients wanted miracles. Efua gave them more. Every braid, every twist, every touch was a poem. Miss Lena watched, impressed. Efua sent money home religiously, school fees, medicine, repairs. When her mother's stall burned down, Efua rebuilt it. Her father, ever reserved, said little on their calls. "I got it," was his usual reply, but Efua didn't mind. Love was service, not praise. Her room was tiny, her meals simple. But her soul grew rich. Years passed. She dreamed new dreams, not just of making it, but of building something. Her own salon, her name on the door, her story in the walls. She saved every extra dollar. She walked in the cold. She skipped dinners. But she never missed a transfer back home. And finally, the day came. A one-room space near a quiet bus stop with peeling paint and possibility. She unlocked the door and cried. It wasn't fancy, but it was hers. Clients followed. Her name spread. The Ghanaian girl with magic hands. Then came Kojo. They met online. His words were honey. He said he ran a small business in Kumasi. Said she was beautiful. Said he wanted forever. Efua, tired of being the giver, yearned to be held. For once, she leaned in. She sent him cedis, then dollars. Small at first, then larger. He said his mother was sick. His shop was robbed. She sent more. She waited. One day, Kojo vanished. No calls, no messages. His number gone. His photos fake. Her account emptied. Her heart broken. She collapsed into grief, but did not stay there. She got up, cleaned her mirror, and braided her own hair that day, strand by strand, like stitching herself back together. The salon didn't close. Her hands didn't shake. Her love hadn't failed. It had been misplaced. She learned. She grew. She rose. And back in Kain Kiim, her mother sold more. Her siblings studied harder, and her father, one day on a rare call, finally said, "I'm proud of you." Efua's eyes filled. She stood in her salon, sun shining through the window, and whispered, "I never left who I am." Because in the end, her real wealth wasn't in the dollars she sent or the clients she pleased. It was in every sacrifice, every comb stroke, every thread of resilience woven through her soul. Kojo had once told Efua he was buying land, then building a house, a place for both of them, a promise wrapped in bricks and paint. "When you come home," he had written, "we'll start our future." And Efua, who had given her sweat and soul to others, believed him. She sent more money, this time to furnish their future. When he asked for extra to register a business, their business, she didn't blink. Hadn't she helped everyone else? Why not the man who said he was her tomorrow? But while betrayal brewed, not everyone from her past disappeared. One day, a message arrived from Ajoa, an old friend from her village. "Efua, forgive me for reaching out this way," it read, "but I need help. It's my final year at the university. My fees, I don't have them. I don't know who else to ask." Efua smiled through the weariness. "Send your account number," she replied. She didn't just send the exact amount. She sent more, told her to keep the change. "You've always had a big heart," Ajoa messaged back. "I will never forget this." And truly, that kindness carved itself into time deeper than any other act. Back home, Efua's family lived better than ever. Her father ran a shop he proudly called his own, funded quietly by the remittances Efua sent month after month. But Efua, she had no idea what waited for her when she decided to return. Not for a celebration, for clarity. 10 years had passed since she walked Nkichim's dusty paths. The airplane wheels kissed Ghana's soil, but in Efua's chest, her heart thundered like a war drum. She hadn't told anyone. Not Kojo, not even her family, This was her mission of truth. She took a cab straight to the address Kojo had given. The house he called theirs. A white gate shimmered ahead. Her heart fluttered with hope. Maybe, just maybe, she knocked. No answer. She opened the gate. There he was, Kojo. Shirtless, wide-eyed. Efua, what are you? Here. Surprise, she said softly, studying his face. Aren't you happy to see me? Of course, he stammered. I just wasn't expecting. Let me get a hotel for you. So you can rest. Hotel? Her voice caught. Why would I stay in a hotel, Kojo? Isn't this our house? Before he could answer, the door behind him creaked open. A young woman stepped out, pregnant, barefoot, hand on belly. Who's this? She asked, staring at Efua like an unwelcome ghost. Efua's breath stopped. Who is she, Kojo? She asked again. He froze. I can explain. Explain. What? You said you were single. You said this was our home. Her voice cracked, tears rising. The woman whispered something and disappeared inside. Efua turned away. Her chest burned. Her hands shook. She walked out, flagged down a cab. Checked. Into the nearest roadside inn and collapsed onto a thin mattress. 10 years of devotion. 10 years of building. And this was her welcome home. Her mind spiraled. If Kojo could lie like that, who else had just been riding her shadow? She stared at the peeling ceiling, a strange calm settling like dusk. She would test them all. She would bury her truth. Pretend to be broke, deported. Let them see her with nothing. No dollars, no shine, no favors. Let the masks fall, she called home. Papa, I'm back. Can you pick me up? She waited by the roadside with a faded duffel bag. Her fine dresses replaced with wrinkled second-hand wrappers, her usually flawless hair hidden under a tattered scarf. Her father's car pulled up, the one she had paid for years ago. He stepped out, confused. Efua? She nodded. It's me, Papa. He opened the door without a word. The drive was quiet, filled with silent judgment. At the compound, her mother ran out but stopped short. Hey, what happened? Inside, Efua sat with trembling hands. I was deported, she lied, accused of theft. Everything's gone, her mother gasped. Her father paced, fists clenched. You mean, you brought nothing? She shook her head. Nothing. Silence followed. That evening, her younger brother returned. Sister Efua? He asked, confused. I thought you'd come with cars, with bags. What happened? She smiled weakly. Life happened. Days passed. The house chilled. Her father barely spoke. Her brothers whispered. Only her mother remained gentle, serving food quietly. The joy her money once bought evaporated. A week later, her father sat across from her. So what's your plan? I don't know yet. You've been here long enough. We can't feed a grown woman with no plan. Papa, I just returned. You have one more week, then you leave. Her voice trembled. But this is the house I bought for you. His face twisted. You're not the only one who suffered. I worked too. I built this place. But I sent money every month. That's done now, isn't it? Even her brothers joined in. Auntie Effu was greedy. Now broke and wants our food. The pain cut deeper than Kojo's betrayal. On her final day, her father tossed her bag out. You can't cry here forever. I didn't deport you. Only her mother dared to come close. She pressed Cetus into her hand. If I had power in this house, you'd never leave. Take this, my child. Don't hate me. Thank you, Mama, Efua whispered, tears falling. She walked away, shoulders heavy, feet dragging her across the street she paved with sacrifice. Outside a run-down guest house, her knees buckled, but then she heard her name. Efua, she turned. There stood a Joa, grocery bag in hand, eyes wide. The same girl she helped years ago, It's really you." Ajoa cried, rushing over. Efua collapsed into her arms, years of tears bursting free. Ajoa didn't flinch. "Come," she said. "You're not alone anymore. Come," Ajoa said softly. "Come home with me." They walked the red earth streets of a quiet Accra neighborhood, past rusted gates and children playing with plastic bottles, until they reached a weathered house with cracked windows and peeling paint. The wood groaned under their feet, but the scent of fried yam and contamire stew filled the air like comfort. Inside, Ajoa's parents, dressed in faded but clean cloth, greeted Efua with the warmest smile she had seen since stepping back on Ghanaian soil. "This is Efua," Ajoa said, her voice filled with quiet pride. "She paid my final university fees when I had no one. She's the reason I graduated." Her mother gasped and pulled Efua into a hug. "We've prayed for you all these years. You saved our daughter's future." That night, they sat on the floor sharing boiled yam and stew from one pot, sipping water from a single calabash, laughing in soft, grateful voices. Efua had never felt richer. In the weeks that followed, she stayed in their home, sleeping beside Ajoa on a mat under a leaky roof. Every morning, they walked together to a tiny salon. Ajoa, inspired by Efua's journey, had become a hairdresser too. Business was slow, but their hands danced with purpose. At night, they shared silence, sorrows, and silly dreams. Efua didn't speak of Kojo or the lie of deportation. Not yet. She needed to heal in peace before reopening wounds. One golden evening, as they walked back under a melting sun, Efua turned to Ajoa. "You never asked for anything. You just welcomed me. Why?" Ajoa shrugged. "Because you once did the same, and when you help, it should never be an invoice. Just a seed. Let God handle the harvest." Efua blinked away tears. "You have no idea what that means." Ajoa smiled. "I have an idea." That night, lying on a straw mat in a house stitched together by kindness, Efua remembered something success had once buried. Home isn't marble floors or shared blood. Home is where hearts open with no ledger. One morning, Efua woke as if a storm had passed and left only fresh air behind. She had seen it all, the ones who took and turned, the ones who stayed and gave. And only one passed the test, Ajoa. "Today," Efua whispered, "everything changes." That afternoon, she asked Ajoa and her parents to join her for a short drive. She dressed in the same worn wrappers she'd worn for weeks. They didn't ask why, they simply came. The car stopped before a tall white gate. Ajoa's eyes widened. "This place is beautiful. Why are we here?" Efua said nothing. She handed her a folded paper. "What's this?" "Deed of ownership," Efua replied. "This house is yours now." Ajoa froze. "What?" "I won a court case," Efua said, voice trembling. "Kojo took my money and lied, but I fought. This house was once my dream. Now I give it to the only person who gave me love with." No conditions. Ajoa's parents stood speechless. Her mother began to tremble. Her father sank onto the steps, tears brimming. "But why?" Ajoa whispered. "Because you loved me at my lowest," Efua answered. "When I had nothing, you gave me food, shelter, dignity. You didn't measure my worth in coins." Ajoa cried, embracing her tightly. "I didn't do it for reward." "I know," Efua said. "That's why you deserve everything." Her parents knelt and began to pray, voices cracking. "May the land honor you, Efua. May your light never dim." Efua cried with them, her heart full for the first time in years. Then she turned to Ajoa. "I didn't come back broke. I came back to build. Come with me." "To the U's, let's build together." Ajoa's eyes widened. "You mean it?" "I've never meant anything more." And as the sun set behind that once painful gate, it no longer stood for betrayal. It stood for grace, healing, and futures rewritten by love. In the days that followed, Efua moved silently, but with purpose. She had money. She had clarity. She had power. But she lacked closure. So one morning, dressed in her finest kente, hair done high and proud, she returned to the house she had bought for her parents, the same house where her father had thrown her out. Now his once booming business had crumbled. He'd trusted the wrong men with borrowed money. The scammers vanished. So had his pride. The bank had come, knocking like thunder. Inside, her mother wept, lines carved deeper into her face. Her brothers sat quiet, ashamed. Her father, once fire, now coughed weakly in a broken chair. When Efua entered, silence fell. Her mother rushed forward. "Efua, thank heavens, please help us. The bank is taking the house." Her father stared at the floor. "We have 1 week." Efua looked around the room, her money in every wall, every tile, every door. She sat down, spine straight. "I wasn't deported," she said calmly. "I lied. I wanted to know who truly loved me. Who would still see me when the setas stopped coming." Her mother gasped. "You lied?" "Yes," Efua said, eyes fixed on her father. "And I saw everything. The moment I stopped giving, I became invisible. After all I did." Her father tried to speak. She cut him off. "I built this house. I paid your debts. I fed your sons. I gave my life for your comfort. But when I asked for shelter, you gave me the street." Her mother cried. "We were afraid. We didn't know what to do." "No," Efua replied. "You didn't want to do anything. You loved what I gave, not me." And she stood. "I'm not here to save you. I'm not a bank. I am not your backup plan." Her father lowered his eyes. Her brothers stayed silent. Efua turned to the door. "I gave you a kingdom, and you treated me like a beggar. I leave with peace, because I don't owe anyone anymore." And as she walked away, the house echoed not with her footsteps, but with the sound of bridges burning, not in anger, but in liberation. In the heart of a bustling airport in Accra, where the noise of homecomings and departures filled the air like an endless drumbeat, Adama stood tall with a single suitcase by her side, and Zulaiha beside her, clutching her passport like it was spun from gold. Her eyes, wide with wonder, darted around the terminal. "I still can't believe this is happening," she whispered. Adama smiled, the calm in her voice hiding the storm she had weathered. "Believe it, you've earned this." Weeks earlier, Adama had worked in silence, securing every document Zulaiha needed, calling in legal favors, and paying for her travel the way a woman named Mama Folake had once done for her. This was her return, not just to the land she left, but to purpose. Back in Nigeria, after she had seen betrayal in its truest form, Adama walked away from the house she bought with her hands and her sacrifice, the one where her own blood turned cold the moment she claimed to be broke. But before she left, she sat across from her mother and father in their crumbling living room. Her father was gaunt, defeated after losing everything to a fake investment scheme. The house was under threat from the bank. Her brothers silent. Her mother tearful. Adama had come not to rescue them, but to end the story. She pulled an envelope from her bag and placed it on the table. "Enough to pay the bank," she said calmly. "And something extra for you, Mama." Her mother wept, clinging to Adama's leg. "I'm sorry," she cried. Her father looked up, voice raspy. "You were the strongest, we just didn't see it." Adama stood. "I was never deported. I lied. I wanted to see who would still hold me if I came back with nothing. And now that I know, don't call me again unless it's for me, not for what I bring." No one stopped her this time, no accusations, no denials. Just silence. The silence of guilt dotted the terminal. The airline announced boarding. Zulaiha looked at her again, eyes glossy. "Adama, how did you become this strong?" Adama turned to her with a half smile, half pain. "By breaking again and again, and choosing not to stay in pieces." They boarded the plane, and as the engines roared to life and Ghana disappeared below them, Adama exhaled a burden she had carried for 10 years. In America, things moved with speed and purpose. Her salon, once a single modest shop, expanded into a franchise with locations sprouting in cities that once felt like dreams. But this time, she didn't build alone. Zuliha was her partner, not her helper. The two women worked side by side, weaving not just hair but futures. One afternoon, they stood in their third salon, where sunlight filtered through golden walls and the name above the mirror read, Aza Beauty, Adama and Zuliha's initials. But more than that, Aza meant strength in their language. And strength they had earned. That night, as they locked the salon and stepped into the chill of evening, Adama looked up at the stars and whispered no wish, just thanks, for survival, for clarity, for Zuliha, for every woman who would walk through their doors and see what was possible. Not because someone gave it to them, but because someone who looked like them built it, not for applause, but for truth. If you had been Adama, would you forgive a family that only loved you when you gave? Tell us in the comments.